came to this country, it was from a dream. When I was a little girl, I wanted to work with wildlife. And my mother ran a small zoo in England, my father was a vet, and my dream was to get to Africa. Well, if you focus on something and you really want something in life, you can get it. And I got here through various very convoluted pathways. And while I was here, I decided I wanted to be a safari guide. And no girl at that stage in this country had ever been one. It wasn't something that happened. So I did it and shocked a few people because it was actually a hunter's license that I took, but not to hunt animals, but to do photographic safaris. So I was the first girl with national parks to get a professional guide's license. I then became a safari guide, and I worked in the Lowveld and I worked in Kariba. But to be quite honest, I'm an animal person as opposed to a people person. I can work with people, I enjoy people, but I actually prefer to be with animals. And when you're a guide, if you're a good guide, you actually have got to cater for the people. And you're out there in the bush, but your main concern is for the people to enjoy themselves. So you tend to lose out on being with the animals. So I still had this focus, and my dream as a little girl started with a guy, if any of you remember George Adams. I may be a bunny hugger in the sense that I am not a hunter, I'm a vegetarian, I love animals, and I underline love. And I'm in Africa where love is for animals sometimes frowned upon. I love them because I believe they're sentient beings. I believe that the hippos are as intelligent as elephants. There's been huge press about elephants, and I think it's brilliant because the ellies need help. But believe it or not, hippos are more endangered than elephants. There are less hippos in our African continent than there are elephants. And the reason is because of lack of habitat, due to human encroachment, and nature, droughts, and problems like that. So the hippos have got a problem. So I'm not doing something just for Karen to have a good time with hippos. There is a future, what I'm looking at, and the trust is constantly growing and changing with out there. And so many people that want to do something in this world. They don't want to just sit and say, oh, you know, and moan. They actually want to do something. And in Africa, we need to do a lot. A heck of a lot, because there's so many problems, and it's up to all of us to get together. However little it is, however small, we can make a change. We can make a difference. I'm one person, and I've got to see things and learn things, and people now actually listen to me, which amazes me. And you guys are listening. I'm a bit scared. You're not falling asleep yet. So basically, we can all do it. Every single one of us, if we care, if we have focus, if we believe. And I believe what I've done is not a pipe dream. I have had, since 1991, 51 babies born from the original 13 hippos, because eventually I had 13 feeding. 51 new babies have survived and been born. I have seen them born, the birth. I've seen all sorts of amazing things. I'll show you. It's not just a hippo story. It's not a, I can write a scientific book on hippos. This isn't what that is. This is a love story. My feelings for these hippos and what we experienced as a couple, and myself as the hippo lady with these animals. And that's what's in that book. That's what it's about. But in my feelings for the animals, it's beside the point. What matters is the conservation of the animal. And 51 calves speaks volumes as far as I'm concerned. With a hose pipe coming into our camp, and when he filled his mouth and he filled it up, he would actually pick up the hose pipe in his mouth, drop it out, and I'd see him because I was always watching him, and I'd drive out in the car. He'd go about this far from the car, and I'd get out, I'd put the hose pipe back in, he'd look at me, and I'd fill it up again. This guy knew I was feeding him. He knew I was helping him. He never attacked me, never, in the whole of the drought. He was absolutely incredible. And a load of people came, media, whatever, and took his picture, and he was just very chilled out.
Where did you get water from?
Yeah, that's good. Urine, as they're defecating, I'm sure everybody knows, and they flash their tail like that. There's a lovely story about that, but it's in my book, so I'm not going to tell you it. But basically, if you work with any animal on this planet, any wild animal, and you don't hurt it, and you spend time with it, and you use your brain that God has given you, and you just work with it, you can have a relationship where they will accept you in their environment as long as you don't push the envelope. Hippos, dangerous animals. When I first went to the Lowveld, they actually wanted to kill me because there were two, Bobby and Blackface, that had had sport hunting happen to their families. They had seen their calves shot and killed, or their older offspring. They didn't like human beings. And when I roll to do 3 things normally. Excuse me, to pass wind. It helps, apparently. You maybe should try it, but I've seen it and I've heard it. Okay. To rub their backs on a rock, because it's itchy. In that case, Mystery rolled for 20 minutes. I got it all on video. She was rolling, and then she'd come up, and then she'd go back on her back and roll, and she was heavily pregnant. Now, I've never been preggy. Any ladies here have been pregnant, I'm sure you must get itchy and must get uncomfortable. So maybe that's why she was scrapping her back on the rock. Whatever the case is, they roll for various reasons as well, but it's a magic thing to watch, and you don't see it that often. You've got to be with hippos for a long time. My hippos, advertising, Turgwe Hippo Trust. I was told by a sponsor in England, Hippo Golf, if anybody plays golf, that they would give me a sum of money if I could get my hippos to pose by their golf equipment. And I did, as you can see. And it was amazing. These hippos, over a period of 3 months, I got them used to that banner. And I haven't got the other pictures, but my hippos walked by, what are they called, golf sticks in their bags. And they walked by a poster of a man playing golf. And it sounds stupid, but it raised monies to do what I do for these animals. So it was great. And I was so proud of them. Those are wild animals with a stupid living sign. Wonderful. And her name is Vixen, because we do name them. We have, what, 50, but most of them got names. She started to groom me. Now, I was just one day sitting. I've got freaky hair. Maybe there was something nice about it, but she started going through it. And it got to the stage where she actually was going through it and then eating something. Then I got worried. Extremely worried. But she does it. And she goes through your pocket. But she's learned to open doors. Now, anybody who goes to Mana, anybody who goes out in the bush, if you don't want baboons in your house, you must keep your doors locked and your windows shut, because they're opportunists. They're baboons. But so we live in a house that we keep shut. Look at her. And that's when she was a juvenile. Now she's an adult. She's had 3 or 4 babies. She will bring me her baby with the umbilical cord attached and groom me. And I've never known her. You know, she just likes me for some reason. I have been told by those that have read it already, and the reviews we've had, it is inspirational. I don't believe in the negative. I don't believe in the bad. I believe in the good. And I believe for every bad there is good. And I believe for every problem there is an answer. And so this book, I hope, will inspire people to not just do things with hippos and animals, but with their lives. To believe in everything can go forward. And that lady...
The first time I've met a Bobby John lover.
I hope you got that on video. Brilliant.
Well, you say you're not a scientist, but the amount of work you've done is a great contribution to science, and I hope that it gets the publicity that it deserves.